Hi guys, welcome back to the Chirping Bird. My name is Tal, and you're getting your weekly dose of the Talbird chit chat. Just kind of catching up with you guys. Last week, I think I did an episode with Andre. I absolutely loved that episode. It was so much fun filming, or I always say filming, but it's recording. I loved recording with him because it gave me an excuse to ask him some hot seat questions. I've kind of stopped asking 1,000,001 hot seat questions to him on the daily, and doing a podcast episode with him just gave the perfect excuse to ask a bunch more. So if you guys haven't listened to that already, make sure you guys check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, and I think it's episode 3. So definitely check it out. And I've also done a few solo episodes and then a episode with Serena, my best friend. So definitely quite a few episodes for you guys to catch up on if you haven't listened to them already. Anyways, that was like the little shameless self-promo, shout out for my podcast episodes. Anyways, today is actually September the 8th, so it is the first day back to school for most kids in elementary school, and for some kids in high school. I know they're going back as well, and colleges don't even start until September 21st. So they still have a few weeks to go. But I thought that I would do a what I wish I knew about college before going, because, it's school season. I've already done the whole high school thing and absolutely hated it. I feel like I don't really have much good advice to give about high school, so sorry if I have a younger audience listening to this one. This is probably not implying heavily towards you, but if you're going into college or university, I feel like I've got a few good tips because I failed miserably the first time, and I'll share some of those failures with you guys so you don't need to make the same, and you can just have a very successful year, 2, 3, 4, however long your program is at school. So I'll give you guys a little backstory. I went to Fanshawe College, which is in London, Ontario, for a music program, sound engineering. It's called MIA, Music Industry Arts. I was like one of the 10% of high school kids that get in. So I was so excited going, and I think the build up to it was a lot more. I think I was just more expecting more, or maybe I was so excited for the whole like living away from home, going to college, like getting that post-secondary education, and I was just looking forward to the whole program itself. And within the first maybe 3-4 weeks, I slowly started to realize that this program was not entirely for me. I wanted to get into more of the advertisement and media side of the whole music industry, and we only had one course for it. So, not saying that this program wasn't good at all, it's actually phenomenal, and I highly recommend to anyone who's looking to get into producing or being a sound engineer, like a mix master guy. Highly recommend it. It's great. The professors are, for the most part, phenomenal, and everyone in the program is really nice and inclusive, and it was really nice to be surrounded by a bunch of people who were really passionate about music. However, for me, I wanted to get into the whole media side of it, and there was only one course for it, and I just didn't get out of the program. I didn't get what I wanted out of the program. as much as I thought I would be getting out of it. And to me, that was kind of, I guess, a sign saying that maybe I shouldn't continue with the program. And so throughout the year, I just basically stopped going to class and didn't really focus on the whole school side of things there, and really focused on, I guess, the social aspect, living away from home. And I think that's really great. I got to experience living away from home. I got to experience living in a dorm. But now when I look back on it, I always tell Andre, I'm like, I really wish I could do over my college experience so I could have that living so close to class. You're living in a dorm room. You're supposed to be social, but you're also supposed to be focusing on your work. And I wish I could do that over so I could really get the most out of my education when I'm there. You're paying so much money, and it doesn't make sense if you just drink the whole time and party. So that's something I definitely really learned. However, I think maybe my top piece of advice that you're going to get away from this video, and oh my god, I keep doing this, from this episode, is live away from home for a year before you go to school. So live away from home, work, rent an apartment for just a year. You're experiencing that independence piece. I mean, if you are a very independent person and are thinking about living away from home, I highly recommend that you just take a year off before you go into school. That way you can go in as a mature student, first of all, and second of all, you already have experienced that whole, I guess, post-secondary, like you're just experiencing the adult life before you have to go back into school. And to be honest, especially in Canada and the States, we go to school from the age of 4 all the way until we're 18. So I think that a lot of people need a break, and 2 months in the summertime, well, I guess it's kind of 3 months because school ends in May usually. June, July, August is not long enough to experience that independence and aloneness that you'd be getting if you're living away from home at college or university. So yeah, that's probably the best advice that I can give you guys, is live away from home for a year, then apply to school if you really are into the going into post-secondary. If you're not and you want to do like an apprenticeship, then this episode is probably not really geared towards you. Maybe I can ask Andre about that, because he did go to college and then he's now doing his apprenticeship, so he's kind of got experience in both sides of this, whereas I'm only experienced in the going into school. So definitely try and take that year off after high school. But I wanted to talk about, I guess, living in residency, because a lot of people, even if their school is in their area, a lot of the times people will live close to the school, live on residence, because you, as a first year, typically you have to live in residency, or it's strongly advised. So the one piece of advice that I can give you is set boundaries for yourself. So tell yourself before you go into school, say Monday to Thursday evenings, I am literally, or I guess Sunday evening to Thursday evening, I am not doing anything social other than, maybe it's going out for dinner one night, on a Wednesday or something, because there's an event going on. Those little things are fine, but I think any sort of party or any sort of other social event that's not held with your school, because sometimes schools will run, like their student union will run events during the nighttime or something after class so people can get to know others in their residency. I highly suggest you set that boundary of not doing anything during the week, because then it forces you to put all of your not class time into studying and doing assignments, whatever you need to do, get groceries, all that type of stuff, because on the weekend, then you know that you can do any sort of social event. Say it's going to a friend's apartment, or you're going to a party off campus, or there's another sort of like party-ish event on the campus, and, there's going to be drinking involved, or it's a little bit more socially involved than going to the grocery store with your friend. So I highly suggest those boundaries are so important, because that is something that I didn't do going into my first year. And I learned the very hard way, because I was out every single night partying. And, it was fun. It was, we were the life of the party. I remember my roommates and I were just going at it every single night. And it was a ball. Like, it was so much fun. But my marks suffered from that. And I would be so tired the next morning, I wouldn't want to go to class. And then that pattern just happened every single night. And my first year of college was a mess. So make sure you set those boundaries so you can wake up, get to class, you've done your homework from the night before, and it runs a little bit smoother. The second thing I would say is your lifestyle in residency. This video is probably going to be a lot about residency, because I was living in a house off campus for my second year. However, my second year I was not in school. I was just working. So I don't think that I can really say much about that. Maybe I will interview or do an episode with some of my friends who are currently living in this would be their second house now, and they're in school. So maybe we'll do a podcast episode with them so they can talk about how they manage living in a house off campus and going to school. But for me, obviously, I only experienced the school part when I was in residency. So the lifestyle in residency is very social if you make it social. So you are going to be living with at least one other person. In my dorm room, there was 3 other girls, and it was co-ed floor. So there was boys and girls living on either side of me. Actually, my hallway was all boys. I don't think there was another girl room. So it was all boys on either side of me and across from me. And you have to get used to the idea of sharing facilities with other people. And for me, that was really hard, because I am a fairly neat person. I was raised to, clean up right away after myself, not leave dishes in the sink for a few days. I was very shocked at how everyone else was living. And I think that it was hard on me in that sense, because I got very frustrated with the cleaning, and I felt like I was doing a lot of the garbage and a lot of the dishes, and everything was just seeming to fall on me in the cleaning department. So I think that was a big lifestyle shock, shall I say. And I highly recommend that if you are even a little bit of a clean person, like your room, is kind of messy, you never make your bed, and, clothes lying everywhere, which is what I thought I was like. I put down messy person, but if you are the slightest bit organized and clean, you want a clean roommate, because everyone has to fill out like a survey or a multiple choice sheet, and you can say if you're a clean person or kind of a messy person. Always put the clean, because you can adapt those cleaning skills. Say you're roomed with another very clean person, you can adopt those skills, and then you yourself will become a very clean person. So I highly suggest that you guys do that. I mean, obviously I made some really good friends in my dorm room and love those girls to death, but I think that if I put clean roommates, I would have been put in a different group of girls, and it would have been a little bit of a cleaner environment. So that is probably my best advice for like kind of lifestyle, like living in your dorm rooms, but also in lifestyle, I think the cooking and what to bring into your residency is very important in the whole like lifestyle category as well. Cooking in our dorm room, I guess, there was a kitchenette, so there was a sink and a fridge and a microwave. That's all we got, and everything else we had to bring on our own. So if we wanted a toaster, we would have to bring that. If we wanted a kettle, we'd have to bring that. Coffee maker, have to bring that. So everything you need to bring. So if you like your cup of coffee in the morning, make sure that you bring either a kettle and some instant coffee, or a Keurig or an espresso, whatever type of coffee machine that you have, and make sure that you bring it, because they do not supply anything. And even in our, I guess we had like floor kitchens, which was basically one stove. That's all we got. The stove barely worked. There was one burner that worked, and the oven was a hot mess. It literally, was a cold mess. I don't even think it got up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It was literally a piece of junk. So if you are someone who likes to cook, like me, I kind of went into this expecting that I would be cooking, baked chicken and like roasted veggies and gourmet 3-course meals every single night. And like I was going to be living it, because I didn't have to worry about my mom telling me to get out of the kitchen, stop cooking, baking, whatever. I really struggled with the whole not having this right kitchen utilities. Now, mind you, we were in the oldest residence building at the school, so our amenities were a little bit crappy compared to everyone else's. So that kind of did suck, and it's not like we could have gone to another building to use their amenities there. But realize that your cooking in college is probably going to be very minimal. The most you're going to do, if you have an oven on your floor or in your building somewhere, the most you're going to get to do is maybe bake some of those pre-made cookies, or if you're going to do like bake some chicken on a pan, or I know some girls did french fries, or guys did french fries. The options are limited. You can't really be making, your Yorkshire pudding and Thanksgiving dinner meal there. So you have to be really mindful about that. A lot of things you will be making probably has to be made in a microwave, or doesn't even need to be cooked at all. So a lot of pre-made salads, or any sort of microwavable dinner or something, frozen vegetables that you can just put in the microwave and you're good to go. I mean, this is kind of your secondary options compared to meal plan, because we did have meal plan on our residency, but it sucked. I hated that food so forking much. It tasted disgusting. Options were so limited. Literally was probably the worst food I've ever had. There was a few good things. There was like a fish poke bowl that I got once, and like that wasn't horrible. But I mean, other than that, it's kind of like French fries, chicken nuggets. There was a pasta bar, but the pasta bar was horrible. And the hours of that place was probably the worst ever that I've ever like known to man. This is like the worst hours. They would close like an hour early. They wouldn't even open on time. Like there was just all of these random timing things where you would get off of school and like they wouldn't even be open because they all wanted to go home early. So that really sucked. And I recommend that if you guys have the option of picking like a big meal plan, medium meal plan, or small meal plan, go with the small meal plan, save your money, and then make your own food. That way you can have good food and you can have it whenever you want. So that's for cooking is probably the best advice that I can give for you. But I think that the things that you need to remember to bring is, to make that cooking experience a little bit better is a kettle and your coffee maker, because, if you're making like instant noodles or something, ramen, you need a kettle, because I don't really know how else you're going to boil some water unless you have a hot plate, and then in that case you need to bring a pot. However, a lot of hot plates, you need to have a certain size pot. It can't be just any random pot. That was an issue that we ran into in our room. There was a hot plate and only one pot worked. So you need to make sure that you can use several pots on this plate or have several working pots for the hot plate if you're planning on bringing one of those. And that's probably the most used tool that you're going to use in your room, because it just plugs into a regular like electrical outlet and you can boil water and make pasta, whatever. Pretty easy to use. You don't have to worry about too much when you have a hot plate, and that way you don't have to go to the kitchen to use the one burner that works, and you have to bring everything with you and all your sauces and your utensils and stuff, and it's just a lot easier if you can do it in your room. So highly recommend. Also, another thing that I suggest you guys bring is plastic cups. So I made the mistake of bringing forking crystal glasses to college. They were antiques and they were like the only glasses that I had, and they were given to me, to use in college. And on the very first day of school, so I had been living in residence for, I kid you not, 48 hours, and got up to go to an orientation in the morning, was brushing my teeth. All of a sudden I hear a crash. I'm like, what the heck? Go to the kitchen. Kitchenette. I say kitchen. It wasn't really a kitchen. Kitchenette. Go to the kitchen, open up the cupboard that I heard the crash from, because like I could tell it was on one side and not the other side. And I start opening up the cupboards on that side, and I finally get to this one cupboard, and glass just pours out of this cupboard. All of my glasses that I had put in the cupboard had fallen, because the shelf was like some dusty, crusty, half broken shelf, and I guess it just gave out, and all fell down. Glasses all broke. Couldn't even save a single one. I was so upset because these were like an actual antique, like really good glasses, and they were so cute. And then they all broke. So I was very upset about that. I had to buy some more cups, and mind you, half of them got stolen, so that kind of sucks. But plastic cups are a must. Don't bring anything glass. If you have glass, like those containers, Tupperware containers, but they're not Tupperware, they're glass, do not bring those. Bring plastic, everything. Everything gets broken in college because you're living with other people, and it would suck if your roommate brought in glass and you were using something and you dropped it and then it broke. I would feel horrible. So just for the sake of others and even yourself, maybe you're kind of a clumsy person, or your residency is older and shelves are not reliable, you would feel pretty bad if all of your glass got broken. So plastic is probably the most recommended material for all of your things that you're bringing in the kitchen. So that's kind of the, I guess, like third piece of advice for lifestyle. The other piece of advice that I suggest you do or bring is your cooking utensils. I did not think of this at all, but spatulas, serving spoons, tongs, things like that, you actually end up needing. I don't know why I didn't think about bringing them. Maybe it was because I thought, you know what, I'm not going to be cooking any chicken wings or barbecuing or anything, so I don't need to bring tongs. My dumbass needed tongs literally like the third day that I was there, because when I was cooking things in the pot on the hot plate and I needed to like pick something out of the pot, and like obviously I didn't want to touch it with my hand because it was hot, I should have had a pair of tongs, and a fork's not long enough. And there was those cooking utensils that you just end up needing and you just don't think about bringing it. And a colander, oh my god, I'm so glad my roommate brought a colander, because I didn't even think about bringing one of those. I just thought that I wasn't going to be cooking pasta. I don't know. I don't even know what I was thinking. But I just did not come prepared in the kitchen department, even though I thought I would be making full course meals there. So definitely come prepared in that section, because your school does not supply anything like that. I think probably the only thing left that I wanted to talk about for the, I guess, college episode going into school is your managing school part. So definitely with all of your courses that you're going to be doing in your program, typically 8 per semester, it gets a lot and it can be overwhelming. So making sure that you have some sort of journal or agenda planner going, that will help you a lot more than you think, because it is very easy to forget that you have an assignment due later on in the month or the syllabus week. Like when they're giving you all of your course outlines, you oftentimes hear about the final assignment, and then the prof will only remind you one other time. And if you are sick or like you miss that, then you're kind of only relying on that first day. So make sure that you guys are writing down every single thing that your school is giving to you, like assignments or tests or quizzes, anything school related, even coming to school or like coming to class at a certain time because the prof wants to do like an example or something before class starts, like the lecture starts. Sometimes our lectures would get moved around to different rooms, whatnot. So you need to make sure that you write everything down. I remember one time I was late for my exam because I couldn't find the room because I forgot which number it was in. So make sure that you write everything they tell you down. Have that planner, have that agenda, journal, whatever. You can make it to how you want. Even if you're a boy and like think that you don't like journaling, doesn't matter. It's not journaling if you're just writing down on a piece of paper or a book, preferably, a lined piece of paper book, everything that your prof is telling you, because you will forget. And if it's just on a loose leaf of paper, you're going to lose that paper so fast. And just having everything written down so you can flip back, find, what they said 3 months ago, 2 months, just having everything written down is so much easier. It'll make your life 10 times nicer. And I think that you will thank me later for that one. Something I wish I did because I forgot everything that the profs told me. Anyways, that is kind of like the biggest tip in managing school portion of this. But I think I'll wrap it up here because I've been gabbing my mouth for about a half an hour now. And you probably are sick and tired of hearing my voice. So I will say my closing notes and we will part our separate ways. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed listening to this episode. If you guys made it this far, maybe comment what school you'll be going to in, the fall right now. Or if you're not going to a post-secondary school, let me know if you're going to high school or wherever you're going to. So comment that down below and make sure that if you haven't already, subscribe and follow me on Instagram. Follow the Chirping.bird on Instagram so you guys can stay up to date on everything in my life and every episode and blog post for the Chirping Bird. Have an amazing day whenever you're listening to this, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.